Welcome back to the Real Marc Bagwell, a wrestling docu-series. Joining me as always, or almost always, he's Mary. He's kind of hairy, and the girls never call him Larry. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only cousin Jerry Hood.
Yo, yo, what's up? What's up?
What's up? His life is great. We got the holiday season coming up. Cousin Jerry Hood, Christmas season, New Year's, non-denominational holidays galore. December is upon us.
I've been spending money like no tomorrow here at the farm. We're winding down hunting season. Wow, it's been a great season, and Christmas is upon us, and here we go. What's up with
Well,
you?
what's up with me? Listen, just taping podcast after podcast and talking to the people. Life is grand. Uh Little sneak peeks. The book is well underway, going to be launching in fall 2023. So we're hard away at a lot of different ventures. But today, as always, it's about the Bagwells, about cousin Jerry, it's about Mark. And Mark came back to us on the Real Marc Bagwell.
Yes, I saw that. Wow, he looks really good, doing really well. Um, we're pleased, happy. We got a happy family here. Happy, happy Mark, happy everybody. Um, Shout out to Dallas and Jonna for sure. What they're doing and what they've done. Very appreciative for that. And we're just I'm glad to see him really sobered up. It's the real him. It's some I've known him for I'd say my whole life. So I mean it's him. It's real. And the best is yet to come, as I always say. As I always get critiqued for all my vocabulary that all the fans write in and critique me on.
Well, we're going to be talking about that in a couple chapters, so don't worry because the fans have been discussing Mr. Jerry Hood and what they want to see from him and what he's been talking about. So we are going to, in a couple chapters, be talking about some of your fans' comments and they're loving Jerry Hood. So that's coming. Don't you worry. But in today's episode, Mr. Jerry Hood, we're going to be talking about the holiday season with the Bagwells. Now, your whole life, as cousin Jerry Hood, have been around the Bagwells, and with the Christmas season coming up now, I thought it'd be very interesting to hear Christmas, New Year's. What's it like to celebrate the holidays as a Bagwell?
Wow, that's one of my favorite words there. uh, Something like you've never imagined. I guess we started out really, you don't know Christmas until you get to be, 4 or 5 years old and you start figuring everything out. So that would put us roughly, early 70s and sitting on top of the world. You wrote your list to Santa Claus and you got it times 1,000. And wow, it started out with decorating the houses, whether we were, at the farm or at home or whatever. But the house over that Mark grew up in Marietta, uh, people come from miles to see it. And the traffic would back up for miles just to see how many lights, the display that they had, the windows had candles in them and a tree floating in the lake in front of the house, lit Christmas tree. She hired several people, Judy, that is, to do that. And then as time progressed and we got older, Mark and I did a lot of it, a lot of the decorating and the designs. And of course, today it's a lot easier. I wish we had the stuff that they have now. I wish we had that back in the 70s and early 80s when he and I were, decorating. And it was fun. Of course, we did that, about the week after Thanksgiving. And people would put notes in the mailbox. They'd bring us cookies, just all kind of nice gestures. And we had fun with it. It was a big time. And Then, of course, we'd get together Christmas Eve, usually the family, and then Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. You think of anything you wanted, from a Mickey Mouse doll to a Corvette, and the dream was fulfilled. Santa was good to us, and we had some big Christmases. And I don't know who, I can probably figure who, but somebody spent a lot of money. Let's say that.
Well, so many questions are going through my mind trying to picture a Buff Bagwell Christmas. So, firstly, who in the family was there a designated Santa dressing up in the suit? Did you guys take turns? How did that work?
We never did anything like that. Basically, Big Jude, Judge Judy, she hired Santa Claus to come in.
She actually
So
flew in Santa from the North Pole to come.
flew him in, and he came in with a bag of toys and or cars parked outside, and there was no peeking, or you get beat up with a shoe if you peeked. But
Just
she, yeah, she took care of it, Santa. And one year, Mrs. Claus made it, which made it real special. And we all got together, of course, and it was second to none. Cookies, food, ham, beer, wine, liquor, you name it. It was a great, great party. It was fun.
Marcus Alexander Bagwell, always a big fan of Christmas.
Probably, I would say a big toss up between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and or of course, there was a snow event here. That was a close second or third as well. He'd always go riding around in his Jeep when it snowed this time of year. But I'll say Christmas number one for him. Just because the lights, Santa Claus, the presents, the get-togethers of the families, and we had a blast. It was Judy made it so special for us. All the boys, Steve, John, Big Steve, aka Buff Daddy's dad, aka Buff Daddy's daddy. It was great. It was a great time. It's something like I say, I could go back and remember things that I'd asked for, and I'd always ask my mom, Judy's sister, "Hey, I want this, I want that. Do you think we'll get it?" Well, I don't know. I don't know. She gets Santa Claus. I don't know. And sure enough, you get there, and it didn't matter. Like I say, if it was a Mickey Mouse doll to a Corvette or what, it didn't matter. You left there, and that it was Christmas, and she made it very special.
Between Mark and his brothers, do you recall any extravagant wants on the list? Like from a very young age, did they work on their list for weeks? How did that work?
I think starting out, excuse me, in the mid 70s, them wanting an Atari video game, and nobody had one. And of course, they had an Atari video game, and that was like, nobody had that. We played video games on that nonstop. Combat. I can't think of any of the other. Mark can tell you more of that. His memory's like an elephant. Of course, that I remember vehicles. Jeeps, Corvettes. Uh, the oldest brother, Steve, one year got a Plymouth. There was a new hot Plymouth. I think it was a Valari. It was like a 1980 Valari, two-door, had a big motor in it. It was great. Motorcycles, go-karts. Like I say, it didn't matter. If you could come up with it, they built it. If it was made and it was available in the U.S., and I mean, that was then. Now you could get online and find anything. Back then, Judy had to go with her shopping list and her Santa helpers, and they went to Kmart and Zayres. You know what Zayres is?
Yeah, we know Zers. We get commercials up here in Canada,
Oh, okay, yeah.
from Buffalo
Uh,
stations. Yeah.
yeah, Richway, GEX, Treasure Island, all the stores they visited. Mall. There was one mall. It was Cumberland Mall. That was just right outside Smyrna, Marietta area, and that was the mall. Town Center Mall, which is the big mall and was the big mall. They're about probably ready to close it now. It was it wasn't built. So of course they had to go find all the toys in the list that we gave. It was all found by her, and phenomenal job by her. I mean, to make it so special.
So would you like a good Plymouth Volare story?
Yes, bring it.
All right. Do you recall what the Volare looks like?
I mean, depending on the year, yes, but in that area, 78 to 82, yeah,
Around
give or
there.
take.
So
Yeah.
remember that those giant steel bumpers? Like it was literally like
Yes.
giant honks of steel at each end of the car, right?
Right.
So my mom goes on vacation, leaves me with a close family member, and the family member takes me out to a restaurant. I'm about 5, maybe 4, okay? And they drive me in their Volare. So we get to the restaurant, and keep in mind, this is around 1980, 1981, so you can figure out my age now. And there's no sensors, there's no rear view cameras. The rear view camera was get out of the car and tell me how much space I have. That was the rear view camera at the time. Also, remember you got to crank the windows, right? Because there's no power windows at that point in most cars. So I'm
Wow.
standing out there, and the Volare has to back up, and it's backing up to a brick wall.
Oh boy.
So I said, "All right, go, more." And they look at me. They go, "You sure? It doesn't look like much space. You have so much room. Just give it. Go more. Are you sure? Yes. Keep going. More. Boom! Right into the brick wall goes the Volare." And
Oh, didn't put
I was
didn't put a scratch on it at all.
they were so mad at me. I was rolling around laughing, loving every second of it. And you know what? Not a scratch on the Volare bumper.
That's the way it went back then. That's crazy.
If you take now any piece of plastic from 2022 or 2023 and you do that, you know what's going to happen, right, Cousin Jerry? It's going to go like a pancake.
Always, my Jeep, just got it. Nice Jeep. I mean, those Grand Cherokees. I've had several Jeeps. I get that from Big Steve. I love the Jeep 4-wheel drives. I got to have everything on it, or I have to. Uh, those, they're the plastic bumpers is where I guess I was getting at. Someone's accidentally hit me in a parking lot, once at the mall, and then once somewhere else. I got a couple dings on it. I mean, you can't paint. I mean, you put it in the shop, you paint the bumpers. It's got all these sensors on it. I've got cameras all the way around the vehicle. It'll drive itself. I remember going in, we went looking for Jeeps. And like I say, you can spend easily from 60,000 up to $120,000 for the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I just said, well, what do you do? Let's get this part over with. And like I say, I took one home and I love it. And that reminds me, I'll give the shout out to Brandy with an I,
Randy with
Brandy
an eye.
911 communicator, same vehicle. You met Brandy.
I met Brandy.
Uh, yeah, we drive the exact same vehicle. What are the chances of that happening? Same color, everything. So she must have a little bit of money. So hey, that's fine with me.
It's why you're the sugar baby, Jerry. Now, fast forward to Mr. Marc Bagwell, and when Mark becomes buff, and we're going through those years, did you get to see him a lot in the Christmas season? Was he still very festive, or was he on the road mostly? Like, what do you recall holiday season during the wrestling era?
More so early on. When he was younger, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 years old. Pretty much we moved in together, up into the, late 80s, early 90s, and several different times there, back and forth. And, but remember them all. And like I say, always, I guess once he got older, of course, not as, as big, but still we bought gifts. Buff Bagwell at the mall during Christmas was Bagwell at the mall times 2 on steroids. So it was even better. We were out shopping, buying things, but it was more so, I guess, as we were kids, more enjoyable because someone else's money and someone else doing Judy doing everything. And, Big Steve shelling out the cash and more there. We were kids and it didn't matter. But he always had something planned up his sleeve. It didn't matter when we got there if he was playing hide and seek or he was dressed up as the Grinch or what. He had something planned every single time. We showed up, my sisters and I. But very memorable. Up into the gosh, he's better with years than I am, but I'm going to say before breaking his neck, and I think that was 93. Is that correct? Halloween Havoc in Columbia, South Carolina, very possibly.
We'd have to look that one up. It sounds about right.
We had a get together at his house that he built. Is big place, unbelievable place, huge, massive. 8,000-10,000 square feet probably, and everything in it from an elevator to I can't remember every great theater room, uh, just incredible. He invited both families together, our mom's side, his dad's side, and Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus came to that. We had an absolute blast. We ate everything from crystal hamburgers to filet mignon steaks, and it was that was very memorable. And we've talked about getting together again and doing things again, and some of the other cousins have talked about it, and we just never have. Everybody has gone their different ways from living in different states, different cities, and some in the West, some in the Midwest, some in South Florida, South Beach. I'm here at the farm, Southeast Georgia, from the middle of September till we're going to move over to our farm over in Alabama. We've got about 3 weeks left here in Georgia. Today's December the 6th, and roughly towards the end of December, we start moving over to Alabama and hunting over there on the farm and the property. And that goes through February the 10th. So, I mean, therefore, I'm gone. How many months is that roughly? 5-6 months there. And then it's time to figure out how much money we've spent and how much, who all do we owe money to and new properties. And it's a big deal. And then we start over again in March. And we were just as busy from March to August maintaining those properties. Until hunting season starts and it's right back over. And he said, we're busy doing that. And the Bagwell brothers, they're here and nobody's here really today. We've got a couple of days of rain, 45 degrees. The deer are moving. We've got about 40 some odd cameras, I would guess, out everywhere. And it's brutal out there. So,
That's where it's nice to know that even, life of a professional wrestler and they spend so much time on the road, holiday season comes up, Christmas time comes up, and they still find a way to see family. And there you have it.
Did.
Christmas
He
season,
definitely did.
Christmas season, near and dear to Buff Bagwell's heart. And finishing off today's topic, New Year's. Was that also a big thing? Did you guys always get into the New Year's spirit? How did that work in the household?
We did. We always managed to see if we could borrow about $2,500 from Judy or Big Steve, and we would go up to Tennessee because fireworks were not legal in Georgia. And we'd go to Tennessee, or there was one other place Alabama. We'd go out I-20 towards Birmingham, and just inside the line there was a huge place. I don't remember them. Fireworks City. And matter of fact, I think they're closed now. All the little firework places on the state lines of South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida have probably gone bankrupt because Georgia legalized fireworks maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But we went and spent money. Oh wow, you talk about $2,500, $3,000 worth of just everything. Come back, big parties, New Year's parties. We'd have them outside. We had a heated swimming pool, so we'd have a party outside and swim and do whatever. If it snowed, we'd go rent snowmobiles or buy snowmobiles. It didn't matter. But New Year's was a big deal, always.
And $2,500 to $3,000 back then is probably like $6,000 to $7,000 now with inflation. So that's a serious amount of coin, and that's how you do New Year's Eve with the Bagwells.
No doubt.
Cousin Jerry Hood, always appreciate you sharing your experiences and your stories with the fans. And when we come back next week, we got some fun in store because we're going to be talking about you and what you've been doing to the internet. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back on the Real Marc Bagwell. Always a pleasure, Cousin Jerry Hood.
I can't wait.
See you soon.